This here is Amelia, and I'm going to ask her a few questions. So, you told me you have ADHD. What does that stand for?
It stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
And what does that mean?
It means that you have a hard time just focusing, and you're hyper, obviously, so that causes you to not know what you're talking about sometimes.
So how did you discover that you had ADHD?
Well, when I was younger, I stopped taking naps really early on, and so my mom always knew that I was always hyper, so she brought me in for testing, a psychological evaluation, I think it's called.
So you said you struggle with your compulsiveness. How often does that occur to you?
I've outgrown a lot of it since I was younger. I'm still pretty hyper. Like last night, I just jump off the walls, going down the railings, just things that kids usually do, not necessarily teenagers. But
how often does that happen?
Not so often anymore. Usually maybe once a week. Sometimes I just can't stop.
Coming to school make you nervous?
Well, it's not necessarily just coming to school, it's mostly presenting in front of other people. So, because you'll see a person, like if you're presenting, you'll see someone who's just fidgeting like on their own, sitting at their desk, and then you'll get distracted looking out the window or something, so you forget what you're saying, especially when it comes to having to memorize things. You get so distracted, it takes you 2 or 3 times longer to finish homework. Like teachers would say that there's a certain timeline that it should take you to finish your homework at night. Yeah. It's usually doubled or tripled. When I was younger in grade 4, it would take me until midnight sometimes to finish stuff, and I would start it at 6 o'clock.
Are you always going to have ADHD, or is it something you grow out of?
A lot of people think that when you get older and you become an adult, you grow out of a lot of things, but I think that you just get more mature and you realize what's going on around you, and you learn with ways of coping.
So how do you deal with your ADHD?
Like when I'm in class, I'll chew gum, or I'll keep moving my feet, or just doing something so that I'm always busy, but I'm still able to focus a bit in class, so I don't disturb the other kids around me.
And that helps you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So how does St. Joe's help with your learning disability?
They help because I already went for the psychological evaluation when I was younger, I ended up getting an IEP, which is an individual education plan. So because I have a hard time focusing in classes, that means that I'm not always paying attention to the teacher, so I won't know what I'm doing. So then I'll get extra time on exams or tests and quizzes, which helps a lot because you still zone in and out of those.
So our school offers a few programs to help people with learning disabilities. What do you find of them?
For me, I usually use Resource. It's a quiet place to go, so there's not as many distractions as there would be in classes. There's also Student Success, which is another place to go, and they all know a lot of answers. If none of them know a question or an answer to your question, they'll go and they'll ask another person. And it's also a place to go for your exams. So it's a quieter room, so you're not going to hear the shifting of papers every second.
So do you go to regular class, and then when it's time to do your work, do you go to Student Success or Resource?
Usually, mostly I usually use it for CPTs and exams, tests, and assignments. The schoolwork, I usually just try to stay in class just so that I'm not missing big parts or just big chunks, even though I'm still missing stuff because I'm just not paying attention. But it really helps you because you just have more time to do it. You're more relaxed. It's not as stressful.
And it's a one-on-one teacher with you?
Pretty much, yeah. You're just sitting at the table. If you have a question, you just go and ask them, or they'll come to you and they'll just work it through it with you.
So how do you feel coming to school with your learning disability?
Sometimes you just feel judged because when the teacher asks you a question and they just single you out. A lot of people I know don't like that, but
I don't like that either.
Yeah, with us, we're usually not paying attention So we get called on, and it's probably one of the easiest questions that you get asked, but you don't know the answer, and you have to ask again what it is, but you weren't paying attention for the whole lesson, so you wouldn't know. So then people think, oh, you're stupid.
So what are your coping methods?
When I was younger, I was put on a medication called Concerta, so that helped me a lot. I'm not on it necessarily anymore because I just keep forgetting to take it. And I don't really need it right now because I'm not doing any academic work. It's because of the program, the focus program, because that's just what I want to be when I'm older, is construction worker. So.
Plans for next year?
I just recently applied for college, at Algonquin College, for the construction building technician co-op.
Why construction?
Because a lot of the times people with ADHD only like the hands-on stuff. Like books that my mom have read when I was younger, it says that most of the time people with ADHD will not end up in an office setting. It's
Has to be like tactile.
Yeah, and it has to be something that you like to do. I've been working with my dad. I've always been interested in that stuff.
Nice.
So,
It's a good fit. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to answer our questions. And I hope you've learned lots, class.